10 of the juiciest stocks to keep an eye on in August. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I'm not a financial advisor, you already know that, and today we have 10 companies that I will be keeping a close eye on in August. First thing I want to say is I'm not going to speak about Workhorse, Hyliion, Virgin Galactic or Tesla, because I mean, I could mention them in every single video. But we do have 10 juicy companies, okay? All different kinds of companies. Some I more than likely will buy, some I'll be keeping a very close eye on because times could change soon. But I love making these videos. I genuinely think this is my favorite video to make every week because I just get to speak about the stocks I want to speak about, and you guys usually love it too. I mean, everybody loves getting some new companies put onto their radar. And guys, I have to thank you so much. Yesterday's video on Workhorse got over 2,000 likes in like 16 hours, and that's genuinely just mind-blowing to me. Like, seriously. The support on this channel and the community we're creating is genuinely so much more than I'd ever imagined, so just a big thank you to you all. With that being said, could I please ask you to smash a like on this video, as it genuinely does help me and the channel out so much. I do really appreciate it. If you're new around here, hit that juicy red subscribe button, people. Join the family, join the community, and please do drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the video, of my picks for what I'll be watching this month, and also what you are watching this month. I'm always very interested and I love interacting in the comment section. So with that being said, guys, strap yourselves in and let's get straight into the first company of today. Also, guys, if you haven't seen one of these videos before, we go through each company very briefly because there is 10 and I don't want the video to be like 4 days long, so just know it's really quick. But first of all, we have Apple, people. A lot of you guys could probably guess this one. Yesterday, Apple went ahead and made all-time highs after rallying up 10.5% in a day, all the way up to $425 a share. Apple is currently one of my top 5 biggest holdings, so I was definitely happy with this performance, to say the least. So why did this happen? So Apple just announced its 5th stock split in history. A few people have been asking me what this actually entails, so that's what we'll go through right now. But it won't affect the value of your shares whatsoever. Just know that from the start. You're not going to lose or make money directly because of a stock split. Generally, when a company does a stock split, okay, it is to make it more attractive to a broader base of investors, okay? A lot of people don't have fractional shares, and a lot of people don't like buying fractional shares. So it may not be feasible to a lot of investors to buy one share of Apple for $425, even if they do want to get involved in the company. So essentially what they're doing is a 4-to-1 stock split. So let's say, for example, you own one share of Apple right now. After the split happens, you will own 4 shares and it will be a quarter of the price. So you don't make or lose any money. Say, for example, you have one share of Apple that is $400. When it's split, you will have 4 shares that are $100. That's really all there is to it. But it is an exciting piece of news because it does mean that more investors who want to buy Apple can do so at a cheaper price. And Apple does have a history of doing this, okay? They last split its stock in 2014 when it enacted a 7-for-1 split as its share price reached $700. They have a history of doing this. Their revenue jumped 11% year over year, which, given the times we're in, guys, was absolutely incredible. Its EPS climbed 18%, guys. That is beautiful. And that's one of the reasons I like Apple. They have always adapted to whatever has been thrown at them. And this is definitely no different, and they smashed the quarter. I personally am very excited about the fact that they are going to do this stock split as well. As I said, it just lets more people get involved. So again, it's already in my top 5 positions, but more than likely I will be buying more in the next couple of weeks. Okay, the second company. We haven't spoke about these guys in a long time. Now, I know the title says 10 stocks to buy. Wells Fargo is a stock to watch, okay? This is my worst performing stock ever. I'm down something like 30%. You know, on this channel, I'm very open about my positions, I won't lie. And things aren't looking beautiful. First things first, 6-month chart, okay? Wells Fargo is still down essentially 50%. If we go on to the 1-year chart, it is actually down over 55% as of right now. Now, Wells Fargo cuts dividend by 80%, okay? Something very worrying to an awful lot of people. More than 3 months ago, I said I expected this to happen. I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner, in all honesty. And again, to be completely honest, as somebody who is invested in them, I'm not particularly upset about this. It could actually be a good thing for us. Wells Fargo is in an absolutely terrible position. They need to do everything they can to ensure, you know, that they survive, that they can rebound when times get financially better. Forcing themselves to pay out the massive dividend that they were, it wasn't the right thing to do. So sometimes if you're investing in a company, a dividend cut isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. Obviously, we would rather be getting that money, but it is what it is. This gives the company, you know, puts them in a better place to grow going forwards. One more thing I'd like to say about Wells Fargo as well. If we go on to Yahoo Finance, okay, and we look at the analyst recommendations, we can see that in August there are actually a few people who are starting to rate them as a buy or a strong buy. All through June and July, there was a sell here and there, some underperforms, a lot of holds and very few buys whatsoever. Now, there's not any analysts saying sell, some saying underperform, which I definitely do think they will underperform for at least a few months. I think if you think otherwise, it's being very optimistic, but a lot of holds and a nearly equal amounts of buys and strong buys. So finally, some analysts are starting to think, this could be a good investment. And when you find out that the percentage of Wells Fargo shares held by institutions is 77.5%, it is very, very important to understand what analysts are thinking when this many institutions hold shares, people. So I've been very ignorant in my position with Wells Fargo. I haven't dollar cost averaged at all because I don't think it's going to turn around anytime soon. Thankfully, it's a relatively small position, so when I do decide to dollar cost average, if I'm down 30%, I could probably get my cost basis to where I'm only going to be down 10%. I literally own 12 shares, so it's fine. It's a tiny position in my portfolio. That's why I'm not upset. And this is where being an individual comes into things, since it's such a small position, I can easily double or triple that position, get my cost basis far better, and the recovery won't be as painful. If you're thinking about going in for the first time, do some more due diligence, figure out what you actually think of the company. But I will say I'm not in a particular rush to buy them, but I do want to keep a very close eye on them in August, because ultimately I do think I will double or triple my position in this company. But yeah, I just wanted to speak about them. I've been getting a lot of questions about them again lately. Okay, third company. We've only ever spoke about these guys briefly once on the channel before. A little company called Kirkland Lake Gold, okay? On the 1-day chart, up 7%. On the 6-month chart, actually up 35.7%. So what they do is in their name. They're in the gold industry. And a lot of you may be aware, but gold is absolutely shooting up in value right now. Now look, I'm not going to go digging through their Q2 results for you, but Kirkland Lake Gold reports strong financial and operating results in the second quarter of 2020. On Yahoo Finance, it's rated as undervalued. The performance outlook is up in the short, mid and long term. It is again a company who has over half of their shares held by institutions, and they are currently trading at a PE ratio of 18.4. And this is a company who was able to reissue their full year 2020 guidance, which a lot of companies haven't been able to do yet. So literally just seeing that a company has done this is a good sign that they're in a strong position. Their revenue more than doubled Q2 2020. The thing is, guys, if the price of gold goes up, then the price of Kirkland Lake Gold will more than likely go up as well. And they're also doing well as a company, so there's a couple of catalysts here. The price of gold for one, and how the company's actually performing. So look, it's just an interesting one. It's an industry that I know a lot of people aren't very exposed to, me included. It is one that I've actually been looking into for well over a month at this stage, and I am considering pulling the trigger relatively soon. I don't have a position just yet, so that you all know, but I'm considering it. Now, another one that's actually similar to Wells Fargo, in that I may well not even buy it this month, but I will be keeping a very close eye on them. For you guys who have been around the channel for more than 2 months, okay, you will remember Delta Airlines was my first love in the stock market. They were my baby. I made some very nice money on them, but ultimately I am completely sold out of my position as of right now. When we went on this run up here, okay, when we went up close to 100% in the span of less than a month, that was, a red sign in my eyes, because there wasn't enough news coming out to justify this run up. It was just pure hype and FOMO. And sure enough, what happened is it gave back over 32% of value since then. So with me, I had a cool journey with Delta. The first time I bought in was $35. Then I bought a lot around $25, and even when it did briefly hit $19, I bought all the way down at the bottom. And I ended up running away with some decent profits. I was very new to investing at the time, so I didn't actually have a lot of money invested. I think I might have had 25 or 30 shares, which at the time was a lot to me. I had a very small portfolio. I wasn't making very much money. I didn't have much to invest, so for me at the time it was a lot of money. At the time I was a massive bull on the airline industry, and to be honest, in the very long term I still am. But over the last 2 or 3 months since I was a massive bull on airlines, I've learned an awful lot about the stock market. I've learned that in an industry like airlines, logic doesn't always dictate what the price is going to do. If it did, then we would be on a run up right now, because things are looking far better than they once were. Right around here is when the run up started to happen, okay? We were at about 268,000 people traveling a day through TSA checkpoints. At the very peak of it was, I believe it was the 8th of June. Yep, 8th of June is when we peaked out on Delta, okay, and you can see we had 430,000 passengers going through TSA checkpoints every day, compared to 2.6 million the year prior. So just logically thinking, it made no sense whatsoever. The numbers have continued to go up and up. We're seeing 700,000 days quite regularly at this stage. Also back here on the 8th of June, the companies were not in as good a position financially as they were now. They didn't have enough time to implement. They weren't able to ground as many vehicles as they have by now. They didn't have as much time to plan. They were in a worse position here when they were at $36.97 a share than they are now. And Delta's an interesting one because it really did teach me a massive lesson, is that, you know, the stock market doesn't have to make sense. It really doesn't have to make sense. And I've seen this happen a lot of times since then. So Delta has actually, I may not have made the most money on it, but it saves me a lot of poor investment decisions. Now, things are starting to look better and better. Now, there are also things that are still looking terrible. There's certain places in certain countries that have terrible daily cases. Florida, for example, I know a few of you are from Florida. You're aware that things aren't going very well over there right now. And so it's things like that that are worrying me. And as well, right now, we're in the peak months of travel. We're in summer, you know, 2.7 million the same day last year, as opposed to 0.7 million now. However, I will be starting to keep an eye on airlines again. I just kind of forgot they existed for a month or two. I wanted to just let things regulate. That really is the truth. Ultimately, as I said, I am a bull on airlines. There's not going to be a world without airlines. No government is going to let their airlines collapse. It's just not the way the world works. I can't give you a price target. I can't give you anything like that, but I will be keeping a close eye on them and potentially opening a position in August. But again, to be honest, I'm really not in a rush. It could well be next month. We'll have to just see. It'll be a very reactive decision based on news and numbers that come out. But there's Delta Airlines. We haven't spoken about them in a long time. Okay, Disney stock. A very interesting stock. A stock that a lot of you may be aware I really do love. So on the 6-month chart, we are down 17.25%, okay? And it's been, you know, relatively sideways for a considerable period of time now. Not an awful lot has happened. But I do personally think that Disney is in a very good position to grow. Maybe not this quarter, but within 2 quarters, I definitely think Disney is going to be seeing some very nice returns. This is definitely a company I plan on holding for decades, put it that way. First thing I want to do is have a quick look at the analyst ratings on Yahoo Finance, okay? And we can see that it's been pretty steady across the board in general, you know. There's been a lot of holds, some buys and a few strong buys. Very little sells or underperforms. Their Q3 earnings are coming up in just a few days. And revenues are expected to be a whole lot worse, and it's obvious to understand why. A big reason is the parks aren't open. They are massive revenue drivers for Disney. With a company like Disney, I don't think you have to look into these things too much. To me, it definitely is a company you hold on for decades. And I mean, if you had have held on to them for the last 4 decades, you'd be up over 10,000%. Before the crash happened, you would have been up over 13,000%. You know what? It might be some tied up money for a while. It might not do a lot for 3 to 6 months. I'm fine with that, I really am. But anyway, that's Disney. Facebook stock in the house, baby. Another one who yesterday up over 8% on the day. Another one of my absolute biggest positions. So again, I am very happy to see this happening. So potentially there's a few reasons why this spike may have happened. One could be this: Facebook stock spikes to record as prominent advertisers boycott doesn't scare anyone, okay? I was saying this from the start. A lot of you might remember this right here, okay? When the ad boycott was all the rage, we dropped over 10% in a day and closed the day down 8.3. The boycott didn't worry me at all, okay? So I bought down here, and since then, whatever I bought has gone up 17.4%. Facebook is an animal, people. It's an absolute animal. Another one reaching all-time highs. As well, they jumped to record high after profit tops $5 billion. There is always going to be loads of news coming out in regards to Facebook. More on that. Major advertisers have committed to boycotting Facebook in July to protest its inability to prevent hateful posts, violence and misinformation on its platform, blah blah blah. But the company said Thursday afternoon that it doesn't expect much to change financially as a result, and this is what I've said from day one. Even the biggest advertisers out there, if all of them left for a month, it would barely affect Facebook's bottom line. We expect our full Q3 year-over-year ad revenue growth rate to be roughly similar to this quarter. So Facebook, it's one I haven't actually added to my position in a little while. You know, I think the last time actually was on that considerable dip. You know, maybe I should have bought more, but it's literally one of the biggest positions in my portfolio. I wasn't in a rush, but definitely one to keep a close eye on in August. Let's see what happens. We all know that the antitrust is going on at the moment as well. I haven't actually got completely and utterly up to date with that yet. I will be doing so, and I might end up making a video on it. Now, a company that hurts to talk about, in all honesty. We are having a look at BLNK charging. Now, I did make a full video on these guys just a few days ago if you do want to check it out, but yeah, there's a sour taste in my mouth. So these guys did very briefly hit over $14 a share on Thursday. I was supposed to buy in right about here, but I said I'll do a little bit more research and make a YouTube video before I do so. I would have been up over 100% in a matter of a week. And here we are, I didn't buy anything. They did give back 11.5% on Friday, but after that run up that happened, that is a very small amount. Now, from the very tops of over $14 a share, yeah, they've given back somewhere over 20%, but still. What I will say about BLNK is that I do think they're an absolutely fantastic company, and they're offering a service that will be very important in the world of EV in general. Now, there is a lot of competition out there, I did go through this in the video, but I do think BLNK will play a massive role, and ultimately I do even think that at $11 a share, in the long term, it will be a good investment, but I'm not going to be buying in just yet. I want to make this clear so nobody goes and panic buys. I will be keeping a close eye on them. Oh, I'm going to remember this one for a while, people. Okay, and we have 3 more companies. So we have LMND, okay, another company I made a video on only a matter of a few days ago. They're in disruptive innovation, particularly disruptive insurance. Very, very, very interesting company, but we can see Friday closed down 10.5%. I hope that everybody who watched my video watched it till the end where I said I'm not buying them yet because of reasons like this. On the 5-day chart, actually down 22.2%. Now, I don't necessarily think it's justified by any means. I do actually think it's a fantastic company, and I do think that they will ultimately do very, very, very well, but there was a good run up at the start. There was a lot of hype, you know, a lot of people just run away with their profits. I'm not very inclined to get in yet because I do ultimately think in the short term it could be overvalued. Now, I know I don't like timing the market. I could well miss out or end up getting in at a higher price, but that's just the way I feel right now. So we can see the revenue has been going up absolutely massively every year, but with that their earnings have been going down and down. So their second quarter earnings will be coming out August 12th. I will definitely be taking a good look into these to see what it looks like. But this could be a company where I might not even get in for a few months. In all honesty, it's hard to tell. It's very hard to tell. They're still just so new realistically. I'm in no rush. So Goldman Sachs initiated coverage of LMND stock on Monday with a sell rating and $44 price target, with analysts saying the insurer's risk profile is not reflected in its valuation. And that's, I agree, that's exactly what I see. The company went public in early July at $29 a share and promptly soared 139% in its trading debut, marking the best first day performance of an IPO in 2020. There was a lot of hype, people, simply put, and we've seen it time and time again. When there's a lot of hype, a stock's price gets run up and it gets brought back down to earth. $44, it could be very realistic, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't hit that mark, but I would be quite surprised if we don't see around the $50 mark at this stage, the way things are going. But we'll see. Keep an eye out for those quarters earnings because they're going to give us a lot of information. Okay, 2 more companies for my dividend investors. Now look, AT&T guys, you're all aware of who these guys are, okay? Dividend yield 7%, PE ratio of 18. 6-month chart, right? Where are we? We're still down about 20%, and I just don't think it's very justified. I've said this in a video probably a few weeks ago, but I just think all of this sideways trading, it's a little bit weird to me, and I really do think that AT&T deserves to be going up in value very, very shortly. We can see that an AT director here has bought a big block of stock. We can see it actually has a relatively small 52-week range, at least compared to a lot of other companies right now. Lows of $26.08. We're only at $29.50, guys, and highs of $39.70. PE ratio currently of 18. Revenue has been steadily climbing, however, earnings have been going down. And if we go down to analysts, not very many sells whatsoever, not even many underperforms, a lot of holds and a few buys. And I personally do think at these prices, I think it's a buy. Now, I don't want to say that because I don't want to encourage anybody to go and buy this without doing your due diligence, but even me, as somebody who is very, very focused on growth and particularly EV and disruptive innovation companies, AT&T is even attractive to me. And I mean, I'm heavily investing in Workhorse, in Virgin Galactic, in Hyliion, you know what I mean? Even in Neo, in Tesla. AT&T wouldn't seem like the kind of stock that would interest me. But at these prices, it really, really does. I actually might make an updated full analysis on AT&T quite soon, just because they're interesting. They are interesting. A lot of the reason AT&T had lost a lot of value in the past few years, okay, was down to some poor acquisitions, simply put, okay? And it just went very badly, okay? And they had lost a lot. But then starting 2019, they went on a lovely run. Sorry, where are we? We went on a lovely run from the very bottom up over 30%. And then the crash happened and they were hit just about as much as everybody else, but the recovery, it just hasn't been there. I know they're still at a PE ratio of 18, but I think under normal circumstances, that would actually be much lower. But anyway, that's AT&T. One more company, another big dividend player, okay? If you watch this channel, you know who they are. It's Altria, okay? I love Altria. 8.36% dividend yield, okay? Massive dividend paying company. And I also think there is an awful lot of room for growth with Altria stock. 6-month chart, actually performing fairly well. Not amazingly, but fairly well for a company with such a high paying dividend, okay? 11% down. Not bad at all. On the 1-year chart, okay, a little bit worse, down 14%. Now on the 5-year chart, this is what worries a whole lot of people, okay? And it's been downhill since, you know, mid 2017. It's been downhill massively. Up until then though, there was nothing but constant growth for this company. Traditionally, Altria sold cigarettes. That's what they do. But now they're getting into so many different avenues. They have wine, they're in Kronos Group, loads of different things going on. Now look, they're not performing the best, okay? And this definitely to me is going to be a long-term investment, and to a few people, it might have your money locked up for a little while. You know, I don't expect a lot to happen in the next month or two. I do think we'll see a little bit of sideways, maybe some slow, steady growth. But in the long term, I think the growth prospects are genuinely really good. Okay, like really good. Like that of a growth stock, and it has a over 8% dividend yield. And Altria actually surpassed their Q2 earnings estimates. Now, it wasn't by much, okay. They came out with earnings of 1.09 per share, beating the estimate of 1.6 per share, but it's still quite good. It's still beating estimates. That's always a good thing. And I mean, despite that, on the 5-day chart, they're still down 4% from the very highs. I just think it's at a good price. But anyway, guys, they were the 10 companies that I will be keeping a very close eye on in August. Please, as always, okay, don't just go and blindly buy any of these companies, okay? Because I myself in this video have said I more than likely won't buy some of them, okay? Do your due diligence, please, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Don't ever buy a company because I or anybody else on YouTube does, or just because we speak about it. It's not a good idea, people. A lot of people on YouTube don't share their losses. I did today. I told you Wells Fargo, I'm down 30%, and I ultimately do think that Wells Fargo will make me a considerable amount of money. Whereas if, you know, somebody got into a company, they didn't really understand it, they see they've lost 30%, they might just be like, I'm just getting out of here, I'm not messing around with this. Basically, it all just comes down to be confident in your investments. So guys, from the bottom of my heart, if you've watched this video till the end, I appreciate you and your support so much. You are really helping me and the channel out more than I think you understand, so just thank you. The support on the channel has been mind-blowing. 20,000 subs is in our sights. Yesterday was another 500 sub day. When I started making these videos, like, I thought this was going to take so much longer to get to this stage. I still get excited every single time I get a view or a comment or a sub. I'm not even messing. It puts a smile on my face. It's not even funny at this stage. So I just do want you to know that you are appreciated. And if you did enjoy the video and I was able to give you some value or insight into any of these companies, please do drop it a like, drop me a comment, and of course subscribe if you're new around here, guys. I would really appreciate it. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. I will be uploading another video later on today, so hopefully I'll see you for that. Have a great one. Peace.